I would gladly be the Wicked Witch of the West in your story because you're the clown in mine. What is up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Rehinged Diaries podcast with your host, Ali Karza. So, I know everything looks a bit different right now. Obviously, the hair, the setup, all of it. So, in regard to the hair, wanted to try something new. I have this wig and I've been loving it for so long, but I don't know, I really got to thin her out because she's very thick. Wanted to give her some bangs. I don't regret it at all. How do you guys feel about it? I love her. My natural hair too. Like, I've just been lazy to try to style it. So yeah, we did this. Honestly, my setup, I'm still heavily inconvenienced over the fact that my ring light broke. So I'm working with what I got. And it's funny because my mom got me so many lights for the new setup that I'm trying to build for myself, but I had to wait till Christmas to get it, which is so annoying. Like, we're in the beginning of December and I want to be like, can I just have it now? But at the same time, I'm kind of digging this new setup. I feel like the lighting is so much more flattering on me and it's just so much more convenient. How do we feel about it? For the video viewers out there. So, of course, as you can see from today's episode topic, we're going to be talking about villain or villainized. And I was going to make this episode specifically on entering your villain era, since I feel like just the conversation of like villains is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while now because of like my personal experiences. But of course, anyone who hasn't seen the Wicked movie yet, please slap yourself because like when I watched it, it kind of confirmed like I need to make an episode about like villains in some way, shape, or form. I cried so much and I resonate so much with like so many of the characters in the movie. But of course, Elphaba specifically, we have to talk about her character and just the conversation when it comes to villains, because I feel like it's such a interesting conversation because there was that, you know, opening line in the movie of like, oh, is someone born wicked or is it just something that they're taught? And I feel like that's such an interesting question because it kind of like correlates with like villains in general. When you're villainized, it's like, am I a bad person or is everyone just trying to make me out to be a villain that's gonna fit their perspective or help them sleep better at night? Like, I really want to have that big conversation. This is definitely an episode for the people that are like recovering people pleasers. This is for you. You're going to be seen in this episode, okay? Because I am a recovering people pleaser. I had so many things piss me off as of late when it comes to just being villainized and feeling misunderstood. So the fact that I watched this film, I feel like the universe is like, bitch, you have to talk about this. So we're going to talk about it. Enough blabbering. If you want to know all about the conversation of like, are you being villainized or are you actually the villain, then keep on listening or watching. Elphaba. I'm just gonna give a little quick summary because I feel like if you haven't watched it yet, you need to like quite literally slap yourself. Or I just don't want to spoil the entire movie because it is a 3-hour movie. But more of the story, the character Elphaba, who is the Wicked Witch of the West, she was discriminated by everyone in her life, especially her father. And it was like sad because in her eyes, when she explained like, oh, my sister, you know, who's in a wheelchair, she is the way that she is because of me. Like, she perceives like everything being her fault. Like, oh my god, like my mother had an affair and then it turned into me being green, and then me being green, my father was just so upset of me being green that when, you know, her mother ended up having another baby, he forced her to eat so many plants so the next child can avoid being green, and it ended up her not only being paralyzed, the child, but then the mother never waking up and passing away. And it's just so sad because imagine being a child holding all of that burden and like blaming yourself for something that is not your fault. It is not your fault that you turned out green. And if anything, I just love unique people. Like, I've always been that type of person where I love someone weird. I love someone being different. Because everybody could be the same. Everybody could have the same personality. We could all be so robotic and just the same. But that's why I feel like us as humans, it's so cool when everyone has their own unique taste, style, the way that they speak. Like, it makes us all different, and then it makes it even more interesting when you meet new people and they're just different from who you are, because it shows you a different perspective and it's just beautiful. So I've always resonated with people that are unique, and that's why I really love her character as of just from the beginning of the film. And then her meeting Glinda, it's like you're meeting this person that is open to understand you because she's a popular girl. And I think that's always something that I found interesting, like especially like going into high school. And there's like the popular people and they're like open to like talking with the nerds or the theater kids or like someone that's like different from the popular people. I've always respected those type of people because I've grown up, especially being an EHT. Anyone who's from Jersey, like you would know how EHT was. That was traumatic. Like when I, grew up in EHT for a long period of time until I went to Pleasantville my high school years. EHT, it was very much like a lot of the popular people. Like there was one girl that I was cool with that was popular. And I could tell she was definitely using me for her to like do better in school, but she would like talk so much shit and saying, oh my god, like there's specific people I cannot be seen with because my friends would make fun of me. And I've always just side-eyed that. That's why I respect popular people that are cool with hanging out with whoever they want because they don't care. Like I love that. Sorry to go on that rampage, but I just had to let that be known. I think the thing that I respect so much about Elphaba is the fact that like she really did want equality, especially when it comes to the animals, how they were like, being perceived a specific kind of way. She loved anyone that was an outcast. Like she resonates with them. She resonates with people that are different. Of course, the animals, like her wanting to save the animals, it's pretty fair given the fact that her own father didn't even love her because she was green and like resented her for that. But the bear, like that grandma bear, wanted to take care of her. I could see why she had such a love for animals, and that becomes the whole conflict of this film. And I think it's so beautiful the relationship she ends up building with Glinda, where it's like this popular girl that resents you because you're being so respected because you have all these powers, and Glinda's like a little bit envious of that 'cause she's like, oh my god, like I always get my way but I'm not in this scenario. But then she decides to really just try to understand you and see you. But I think the true tragedy of it all is the fact that like she gets built up to be taken down. Like I hate that so much when someone's like a character or anyone in life is built up and then they're just taken down. Where you could see her go through this like high of like, oh my god, she's like she's with Glinda and people are suddenly starting to really pay attention to her, and not in a negative light but like in a different perspective, and she's gonna go meet the Wizard of Oz. And then when she does, in hopes of like solving this whole situation with the animals, it turns out that, oh my god, the wizard doesn't even have powers. And I was actually being manipulated because she felt like an outcast for being green. And then, like everyone just thinking that she's weird or she's not confident. But then the fact that like you were like seen as like valuable because you've had powers, and it turns out like they didn't even view you as valuable in the way that you perceived it. They only viewed you as valuable for them to get what they want. So you were taken advantage of. So imagine getting taken advantage of. Like you were discriminated your whole life, and then you get taken advantage of, and then you want to like fight for what you believe in, and then Glinda, the one friend that you made, ends up siding with the person that you're against. Like the betrayal is so real. But I think the thing that's so interesting about the film is how in the beginning it's asked, is someone like born wicked, or is it something that's like thrust upon them? And it's like very interesting because when it comes to villains, we just deem them as bad, like why are they doing bad things, blah 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 blah. But when it comes to Elphaba, it's like she literally is one of the big-hearted, most compassionate people you could meet, and yet she's perceived as being the Wicked Witch of the West because she rebelled, going against what like she really went for what she believed in. It's just so sad because I feel like there's a lot, like even Anakin Skywalker, someone who ended up being Darth Vader. It's kind of crazy how these people that are once very genuine big-hearted people kind of go dark because they rebel. It's kind of like in life, which I'm 25 years old now, but I always find it so insane over the fact that in life you are taught to do things that is going to make everybody happy, because we're taught that it's not okay to stand up for what you believe in. You have to just be the good person. But then it means that you have to tolerate so much disrespect. It means that you have to just be stepped all over. And I love villains for the reason of especially the villains that start off being so genuine and being big-hearted, and they kind of just rebel. Because some people are just given the worst circumstances and they have no choice but to rebel. But the kind of villain stories where it's like they were good people at one point, but they just rebelled, I respect them so much, because there's a saying, why do you think selfish people not only live longer, but they are so much more successful than a people pleaser? And it takes so much courage to be okay with the fact that you're going to be perceived in the wrong light. Like you're going to have people painting you in such a bad light. It takes so much courage to not give a fuck and just to keep doing you. But when it comes to villains, when it truly comes to villains, it's like there's so much respect that I have when it comes to just being the bad guy in someone's story. Like, I respect that so much more. Like, I really, really do. The reason why I really wanted to make this episode is I've been really experiencing that in my personal life. So, I have a cousin that I just no longer speak with anymore. And it's because of the fact that y'all are fully aware. For the people that keep up with me, I love you so much. But for the people that keep up with me for as long as you have, I've opened up pretty much a lot, like as much as I can. I haven't even gone to full detail about my breakup and how my ex really ruined my life for a long period of time. Like he put me in the worst situation possible, like really destroyed me. And it's not to destroy, like he cheated. No, it was beyond anything you could really wrap your head around. Like it was just such a bad situation. Like I lost everything. It was like, when I tell you I don't hate anyone in this world, but if there's like a group of people that could say fuck you, I would never forgive you, it's my ex and his family. Truly. So with all that little bit of context given, it's like my cousin, someone that I thought that I was really cool with. And this is not the one that was like recently on my episode. I love her. This is like someone else. But it's the way that this person like knew what my ex put me through. And she still continued to remain in contact with him, which is like fine. I'm like, I'm not going to tell people who you can and can hang out with. But if you're going to sit there and go up to my other cousins who I haven't even told the news, like when me and my ex broke up at the time, she's being like, did you know that Allie and Blank broke up? Did you know he cheated on her? Like treating it as tea. But then to my face, oh, Allie, I love you so much. Alibi, I love you so much. Blah, 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 blah. And then talking all this shit about me. I'm just like, you're fake. You're literally fake. And let's not even like talk about the fact that I have a cousin who wanted to start being a tattoo artist. And since she wanted to start being a tattoo artist, she obviously had to start practicing on people. And she's practiced on a good amount of people, but of course, the more, the merrier. And that same cousin that I talked about, she was like, oh my God, to my other cousin, like, can you hook me and like my one friend up to like for a tattoo? My cousin's like, sure. She only prepared for 2 people. To make a long story short, my other cousin showed up with like 6 people. And then my cousin was like, oh my God, like this is, frustrating because you showed up with 6 people when I'm only prepared for 2 people. She's like, I'm going to make it work. Go grab some more sanitary things and make this work. She does it at the end of the whole session. My cousin's like, okay, why is everyone walking out the door? Like, you have to pay me for this. Like, I'm not doing this for free. Like, of course I need the practice, but like, you need to pay me for me, like wasting my products and my time on you. My other cousin starts having this entitled energy where she's like, oh, my friends are saying you charge a little bit too much for these tattoos. Like, can you like lower the price? Like, said that after the tattoos, matter of fact. So like overall, I just feel like she's a fucked up person. Like she's a fucked up person who is very entitled and thinks that she is owed everything. And that was already like the situation I had with her personally was already like, you rub me the wrong way. But then when I heard about that, I'm like, I just don't want any association with you. So I ended up deleting her off of all my social media. I woke up to I had a big paragraph from her getting all snarky with me. I've never met someone get so personally angry for the fact that I don't want to fuck with you. Like, I'm not even going on social media and talking about you, which I could, but I didn't. And it's the way that she's like, oh my God, like just writing me paragraphs. Like, you would have thought that I punched her dog or something. You would have thought that I punched her grandma. And I'm like, girl, it's not that deep. And it's the way that she just started villainizing me, being like, oh my God, like you just think that this whole family's fucked up. I'm like, you and I preach about how fucked up our family is. But it's when you are brought into the conversation of fuck the family, now you're disagreeing with the conversation. Okay, whatever. She just starts villainizing me, saying that I'm a fucked up person. Why? Because I'm not afraid to cut someone off? We'll get to that. Also, I got into a really bad argument with my sister during Thanksgiving dinner. And that was really, really tough because I felt, once again, villainized. Not gonna blurt out much of what the argument consisted of, but more the story, it just came down to the fact that I felt like I was being villainized for someone else's bad decisions. Because at the end of the day, like, I get it. going to therapy and doing the work, it doesn't feel good having to take accountability for bad decisions that you made. It's embarrassing. It feels so much more relieving and better to blame it on someone else. Like it relieves a lot of the guilt that you hold or the shame that you hold when it's like, fuck, I made a bad decision doing X, Y, and Z. So let me just point this person because it feels better and it just serves me well in their eyes. So that's what became the big argument. And I remember like this entire week, like I was just so like depressed. I was so in my feelings. I was just journaling every single day because I was so upset. Cause I'm like, this is fucking annoying. Like, I feel so villainized because of the fact that like I just don't tolerate bullshit for one, and I say things for what it is, and it was just like very hurtful. I was really like getting in my feelings until I started really journaling. Why is this hurting me as much as I like as it is? Because at the end of the day, if these people are saying that I'm bad, why do I give a fuck? Like, let's really talk about it. Why do I give a fuck about these people viewing me in such a bad light when at the end of the day, deep in my core, I have never done anything maliciously to someone. Like, I've never sat there, rubbed my hands together and said, I'm a fucking hurt this person. I've never done that, ever. Not only that, if I am such a bad person, why do I dedicate so much of my time and my energy on creating a podcast that uplifts women, that helps them remind themselves of their worth and bettering themselves? Especially this episode, I want to teach people that are people pleasers that it's okay to be the villain in someone's story. Someone that's really fucking awful wouldn't be doing that. I'd be doing other things with my time. And time is very valuable. It really, really is. I don't think people understand how valuable time really is. So I had to really sit there and really like have this conversation with myself. Why do I care so much that these people are villainizing me? Why? And that's when I had to really sit there and think, like, growing up, when you're never received love from your parents, like from the get-go, you start to go through the fear of ever losing validation and love from people. And I think that's maybe where a lot of people pleasing stems from a lot of people listening or viewing this episode. Maybe you can resonate with that. Like, maybe you weren't given love as a child, so you start to look for it from other places. And the idea of potentially losing that makes you kind of bend your boundaries or make you do things you normally wouldn't, like tolerate a lot more disrespect than you actually would, to like keep someone around or keep that validation or love, to confirm that you're worthy or like lovable. And I've been really journaling a lot about the woman that I want to be, and how we're ending the new year. We're about to approach the new year, and how I want to really start carrying myself. And I'm like, the Ali 2.0 of who I want to be does not give a fuck if anyone doesn't like me. Like, if every person in, like, watching this or listening to this hates me, I don't give a fuck. Why? Because at the end of the day, I am worthy regardless of the matter. Like, if I don't need someone telling me that they love me and that I'm worthy for it to confirm that I'm worthy. I just am. And I feel like the most devastating thing that I really started coming to terms with is how much I dimmed my own light for other people this year, especially this year. Like, the best example that I could really use is the fact that like my friends, like a lot of the people that I dated, especially like people I've talked to this year, all my friends will be like, there has not been a person this year that I talked to that my friends were like, yeah, we like them. Like, truly, they all would be like, you're out of this person's league. Like, I've never talked to someone and they not mention the words, you're so out of my league. And I think the most devastating thing about that sentence alone is how when someone tells me I'm out of their league, I used to really sit there and experience the most, what's the word I'm looking for? I would experience the most imposter syndrome ever when someone would say, you're so out of my league. Every single person I've talked to, they've never not mentioned that. Even my ex, every single person's like, you're so out of my league. And I used to sit there and be like, but why? Like, what do you mean I'm out of your league? I'm literally just a person. It's the way that I started dimming my own light. And then I started realizing, like, yo, like, I've let way too many, like, dusties, uglies play me. Because I really looked at myself as, like, how could I be out of their league? Like, I used to really have that mindset that I was so hungry and I was yearning for someone's love that I would sit there and kind of just, like, accept it from anyone. Be like, it's just good to experience love from this person. Where it's like, bitch, no wonder you're getting played left and right. Like, it's a privilege to even experience me, period. I don't care how cocky that sounds. And it's a privilege to experience me because I'm genuine. I'm loving. Like, I'm not fake. So it's like it's an experience. I'm an experience, and it's like, why do I have to keep diminishing my own self and dimming my own light for what? Like, I am worthy of love, period. So it's like, it was just like, that was the most saddest thing ever. Like, you ever see someone that's so attractive and they don't even know it? And I feel like for the longest time I was that person where I just felt like, oh, I know I'm attractive, but when it comes to the conversation of love, I'm kind of just lucky to get it from anywhere. Like, it really was like that. And now, bitch. Bitch, my feelings are now like transactional in a sense where it's like, you had to invest enough for me to feel like, okay, I can now invest my feelings into you. Like, I used to just be giving my feelings out to anyone and anything, and I feel like that's why I used to crash out so much. Another thing too, I would not be crashing out anymore. I would never crash out on someone ever the fuck again. If I feel like you aren't contributing to my life in the way that I need you to, or you're just not giving me the positive energy that I require, whatever the fuck, if you just are not it for me, I don't have to crash out or make it this big thing. I'm just gonna say bye. Like, sorry, you're not what I'm looking for, bye. I don't give a fuck if I'm the villain in your story because of that. Because I'm a villain for a lot of people's story because I'm just like, this ain't it. I don't want you. To like wrap all this up on the conversation of like being the villain in someone's story, it's like I found so much more peace accepting the fact that I'm like, I don't give a shit if I'm the Wicked Witch of the West in your story. If I'm the Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader in your story. You're the clown in my story. And at the end of the day, I should not, and I just preach this to anyone out there that's either a recovering people pleaser or if you're a people pleaser trying to let go of that mindset, that it is fiction. It is fiction what these people say about you. Because some people at the end of the day, it hurts them too much to take accountability for the actions that they take. So what are they going to do? They're going to villainize you because it helps them feel better, releases the guilt. I should not and I will not defend my name in your book of fiction. Paint me however you desire. I don't care. Do you know how freeing that is? To like let go and be like, that's how you view me? Okay. But I look in the mirror and I know that I go above and beyond for my friendships. I value friendships so much. I value my relationships. I value people. I value people feeling seen. Being people's safe space if they need a vent to. Someone that's fucked up and awful would not be that. But at the end of the day, I do not need to defend my character to prove that I'm a good person. At the end of the day, anyone could perceive you as bad and it does not fucking matter. How people perceive you is not, it's not truth. It's not facts. It's not. And I don't mean this in a state of like, just be fucking awful. And if you think you're a good person, no. Like, there could be two things true at once. You could be doing fucked up things, but then also still like have genuine intentions, okay? But overall, if you're a good person, especially when it comes to like not being a people pleaser, that's why I feel like a lot of these villains, you know, that's why they're misunderstood. That's why villains usually 9 times out of 10 are misunderstood. Because people want to paint them as evil. And sometimes they're just not. They just don't tolerate bullshit that a people pleaser would. That's why I would very much so be the villain in someone's story rather than being the doormat. It's so much more detrimental to be the people pleaser, the doormat in someone's story rather than being the villain. Because you know what? When it comes to being the villain in someone's story, you're not accepting disrespect, bad behavior. You're commanding respect. And yes, it can get lonely being a villain at times. But then what fun is it to like be a people pleaser and have all these people that view you as transactional or you view you as like, okay, like I can do whatever I want with this person because they're just going to accept it. Where's the fun in that? Like confident people, the most confident people you could possibly meet, they're just authentically themselves and they don't give a shit. And there's so much beauty in that. So the combination of being authentically yourself and then the combination of not tolerating disrespect and just being okay with being the villain, bitch, you're magical, you're magnetic. Ugh. You're not the average person. Because a lot of these people that are like, the average person would just tolerate so much because they're people pleasers deep inside. That's why I really resonate with Elphaba's, her character so much, because of course anyone can relate to being the outcast and being, being different, being discriminated for being different. But then the fact that this person is such a big hearted, genuine person, but they're just standing 10 toes on what they believe in, and they will not sacrifice that for what? To be accepted by other people when they don't even accept you. Because if they genuinely accepted you, they would have respect your boundaries. Overall, when it comes to this conversation of, are you the villain or are you villainized? It's like, if you are the villain, like you actually are maliciously hurting people, then bitch, anyone says about you, you gotta just like accept it. Like you either gotta accept it or you don't give a shit, whatever. But if you're being villainized, I know the pain when it comes to that. I think that's something that used to hurt me so much when it came to my breakup as well. Like, Russ's song Misunderstood is a song I used to cry to. It was the song I cried to the most. People only see what they want to see, and I feel so misunderstood. Like, people want to paint me as the villain, and it hurts so much. And it was something I grieved for such a long time, like when I first went through my breakup. Because imagine like someone that's so deeply respected because he's a chronic people pleaser. He's a chronic people pleaser, so everyone immediately respected him and deemed him as a good person. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I'm getting cheated on. I'm going through all this fuck shit. And I'm like, wow, no one deems me as credible because I was very reactive. I used to be such a reactive person. I've had my moments, even like this year. Like, I've had my moments of being reactive. It's a journey to like really let go of bad habits. But I used to be such a reactive person. So it made me way more uncredible, if that makes any sense. Whereas this person that's calm and quiet and just whatever, he was deemed more credible as a good person, which was like, bitch, if y'all have seen behind the scenes, girl. So it was just like, that's something that I've just found so like painful. It's like being misunderstood when you're like, I'm so deep. I wish I had the balls to do half of what people would do to me, because then I would be the villain. Like, I would genuinely be the villain, because then I'm maliciously doing like these things that people are doing to me, but I don't have it in me. If I'm reactive and I look like I'm an asshole, it's like I'm defending myself, because I don't deserve disrespect. I don't deserve to be spoken to like I'm a piece of shit. That's why it's like always been such a mind fuck, where I'm like, wow, when people villainize me, it would make me so angry, because I'm like, I wish I was the villain sometimes. Truly. Like, sometimes I wish I could do half of what people would do to me. Do you know how much satisfying it would be? Like, damn, like I pulled the you on you. But you know what? That's another reason why I know I'm not a bad person. It's the fact that, like, I don't need to stoop to your level to feel good and satisfied in a situation. The best revenge for all my recovering people pleasers, when people are misunderstanding you, paint you as a bad person, just boss up. Just do not give a fuck. Let them paint you however the fuck they want to paint you, but just boss up to the point where people had to side eye them, because they're starting to deem them as uncredible. And that was the one thing that got me through my last relationship, when I was so deeply misunderstood, and I feel like I was painted in such a bad light. And I'm like, this is not fair. Like, people are viewing me as a villain, but people don't even know. Like, even from what I told you guys, it's not even, it's like 1% what I told you about the breakup. If I told you everything that man has put me through, you guys, your mouth would be on the floor. And it's the way that everyone praised this man as being such a big-hearted, genuine person. And I'm like, I'm just gonna sit there and boss the fuck up that people have to look at him and side-eye him. Like, how bad is Allie really when she hasn't opened her mouth? Like, I could have really sat there and aired out the relationship, did so much fuck shit. I could have fucked all, like, I could have done some crazy shit, but I didn't, because I don't value stooping low to feel satisfied in a situation. Like, yeah, if I do this little fucked up thing, I'll feel satisfied in my revenge. No, my revenge is always bossing up and being a version of myself that you have no longer any access to. That is the best revenge ever for anyone out there that is like, fuck, Allie, these people are saying so many fucked up things and it's not true and I feel so misunderstood. Fuck them. Let them say whatever the fuck they want to say. Boss up. I would literally be so delusional when I'm like building this vision board of the Allie 2.0 that I want to be. And I'm like, that seems spooky. Like, Allie, like, not like oversharing my life as I used to, like being a little bit more mysterious. I don't react to things anymore. I keep things very like one worded. Like I don't argue unless I feel like we can have an open conversation about our feelings, but it would have to be someone who earned that. Other than that, my feelings are transactional. I will not give it to you unless I feel invested in and I feel like it's a safe space for me to invest my feelings back. Other than that, bitch, it's transactional. I don't take things personally anymore. It's not my business how people feel. Like the Ally 2.0 is spooky because I'm like, I can imagine a mindset like that. But you know what? Ally in 2023, I bet she can't even imagine half the shit I've done now with my life. You're never too delusional when it comes to things like that. Boss the fuck up, be a version of yourself that seems spooky. Like, oh my God, I cannot imagine a mindset, like, especially chronic people pleasers. I can't imagine saying no to someone or setting boundaries. Do it. Do it. It's going to feel uncomfortable for a while until it feels natural, until it just naturally aligns with who you are. You're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and your confidence is going to be skyrocket high. And you're going to not be average anymore. You're going to no longer be the average person because a lot of the average people are just chronic people pleasers. They don't know how to set boundaries and they're afraid of being perceived in a bad light. But like I said, once again, I will gladly be the Wicked Witch of the West in your story because you're the clown in mine. But yeah, that is everything for today's podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. I have just really had a rough week or so because I really was in my feelings because so many things have been hitting me left and fucking right. I was going to really make this episode originally truly about how two things can be true at once. Like how you could be going through the best time of your life while also the worst. I feel like I'm going through that right now. I have been manifesting so heavily. I've been journaling so much. And because of that, because I've been journaling so much, I feel like in manifesting, I feel like my life is starting to really like hit me in a way where like I've been losing more people. I've been, like just shedding so much skin because I feel like when you have so many things start to hit you left and right, it means you're going to go to a transitional period of your life. Like I know something big is going to come to me soon. I've been feeling it for such a while. It's been hurting because I'm like, fuck, so many things have been happening left and right, arguments, just inconveniences, but I just know something big is gonna happen and you just gotta take it. You just gotta take the beating because I know something beautiful is gonna be coming really, really soon. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. I love you guys so much. If you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure to give it a 5 stars rating. Download this episode because it helps me so much and we gotta keep these lights on one way or another. And if you're watching this on the YouTube podcast channel, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions or your experience on being villainized. And if you're genuinely a big-hearted person, someone who's a recovering people pleaser, comment down below how you broke through that. Share that so it could help someone out there who is, trying to break through being a people pleaser. And most importantly, make sure to click that subscribe button down below so you can see more of me. And I cannot wait to see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.